Assalamualaikum and hi everyone! In this video, we will present our group project about a study on the relationship between usage of the study room and average duration students spend in the study room at Dahlia 2 and Dahlia 3. So, our group consists of 4 members, which is me, Nur Safia Diana, Siti Zulaika, Nuruna Danafisha and Mariam Musfira. In this section, I will explain the introductions of this study. Let's begin with background of the study. This research was carried out to study the relationship between the uses of the study room and the average durations of time spent by students in study room at Dahlia 2 and Dahlia 3 hostel in YTM Arau. This study focused on identifying student pattern of study room usage and their level of satisfaction toward provided facility including cleanliness, temperature, lighting, comfort of table and chair and the overall study room environment. Data for this study were collected through a questionnaire distributed to 40 students residing in Dahlia 2 and Dahlia 3 hostel using convenience sampling. Both quantitative variables such as frequency of usage and average durations of time spent and qualitative variables such as student satisfaction level were collected, analyzed using numerical and graphical approach to provide a clearer understanding of student study behavior and overall satisfaction with the study room facility. Next, I will present the objective of this study. The first objective of this study is to describe both quantitative and qualitative variables related to usage of the study room. The quantitative variables include the frequency of study room usage and the average durations of time spent in the study room per week. Meanwhile, the qualitative variables focus on student satisfaction level towards cleanliness, temperature, lighting, furniture condition, and the overall comfort of the study room. These variables are analyzed using graphical and numerical technique. The second objective is to determine the shape of the data distribution for quantitative variable in order to understand the pattern of study room usage among the students. The third objective is to compare the dispersions of quantitative variable based on qualitative variable to observe variation in students' study behavior. Other objective of this study is to determine the correlation between study room usage and the average durations of study room among the students. Finally, the last objective is to predict the average durations of study room based off estimate frequency of the study room usage per week. This study is significant in several ways. Firstly, it demonstrates the application of statistical technique in real-life data analysis, especially in educational setting. Secondly, it enhances understanding of data summarizations and presentation through the use of table, graph, and descriptive statistics. In addition, this study helped to identify relationship between variables using correlation and regression analysis. The findings also support prediction and interpretation of how variables influence each other, which is important in making informed conclusions. Furthermore, this study improves student and researchers' skills in data handling, analysis, and interpretation. It also aids better decision-making by using accurate and well-organized data. Overall, this study highlights the importance of statistics in problem-solving across various fields. That's all from me. Next, I will pass to Zulaika, who will explain the next section.
Thank you, Diana. Moving on to data description. The purpose of this study is to analyze student satisfaction with the study room facilities at Dahlia 2 and Dahlia 3. All the data were collected using survey questionnaires that were printed before distributing them directly to the respondents. 40 students participated in this study and aged between 18 to 20 years old and above. Respondents came from different faculties and stay at Dahlia 2 and Dahlia 3. All the data that were used in this study is divided into two categories, which are qualitative variables, which includes faculty, hostel, the study room cleanliness and well-maintained, the temperature of the study room and recommendations. And for quantitative variables, includes age, academic grade level, semester, study room usage per week, and average duration spent in the study room per week. The population of this study is all female YTM Arau students who have went to study room at Dahlia 2 and Dahlia 3. The sample is 40 female YTM Arau students from different faculties and hostels. Then convenience sampling was used as the sampling method, and we used direct observation from the study conducted as the data collection method. Next, the description of variables used in the study. The variables are classified based on their type, measurement scale, and method of analysis. For example, age and study room usage are quantitative variables measured on a ratio scale, while hostel and faculty are qualitative variables measured on a nominal scale. Appropriate charts such as pie charts and simple bar charts are used to describe and compare the respondents' data effectively. Moreover, graphical techniques were used to present the data visually. Simple bar charts are used to compare the data, while bar charts show proportions or percentages of a whole data. Histograms are used to display the distribution of continuous data. Other graphs, such as OGIF, help identify cumulative frequencies. Scatter diagrams show relationships between variables, and box plots summarize data distribution, including median and range. Numerical techniques help summarize, describe, and analyze data using numerical values. First, measures of central tendency such as mean, median, and mode are used to determine the center or average of the data. Next, measures of position including the first quartile, second quartile, and third quartile are used to identify the position of data values within the distribution. Measures of dispersion such as range, variance, and standard deviation show how spread out the data is. Measures of skewness are used to describe the shape of the data distribution. Correlation and regression are used to examine the relationship between two variables. The coefficient of determination shows the strength of the relationship between the variables in percentage form. Lastly, estimation is used to predict the values of estimation. Now I will pass to Mariam for the next slide.
Thank you, Zulaika. Now I will explain about result and discussion. This slide shows the data presentation for Part A, which is the demographic profile of respondents based on their hostel. Table 1 present the frequency and percentage of students from two hostels, which are Dahlia 2 and Dahlia 3. From the table, 25 students are from Dahlia 2, representing 62.5% of the total respondents. Meanwhile, 15 students are from Dahlia 3, which represent 37.5%. The total number of respondents is 40 students. The bar chart on the right illustrates the same information in graphical form. It clearly shows the number of students from Dahlia 2 is higher compared to Dahlia 3. So, to interpretation, based on the bar chart of hostel, the higher number of students is Dahlia 2 with frequency of 25 students. This indicates the most of respondents in the study are from Dahlia 2. Okay, in this slide we have two data analysis based on the age distribution and faculty of respondents. First, let we look at the pie chart of age. Based on the chart, the total number of respondents is 40 students. The majority of students are aged between 18 to 20 years old, which represent 38 students of these respondents. Meanwhile, only 2 students are aged between 21 to 20 years old. This shows the most respondents are young students within the typical undergraduate age range. To interpret, the pie chart shows the age distribution of students. A large majority of students, 95%, are aged between 18 to 20 years old, while for another 5% of students are aged between 21 to 20 years old. Next, let's we look at the bar chart of faculty. From the bar chart, the faculty with the highest number of students is applied science with 26 students. This is followed by accountancy with 8 students. The College of Computing, Information and Mathematics has 4 students, while Plantation and Agrotechnology and Sports Science and Recreation each have 1 student. So, to interpret based on the bar chart faculty, the higher numbers of students is faculty applied science with 26. So, for Part B, usage and satisfaction towards study room, in this data analysis, we use simple bar chart to analyze the data, which is average duration study room per week. And as we can see, the highest number of average duration study room per week is 2 hours. And the lowest number of average duration study room per week is 5, 7, 9, and 24 hours. So, to interpret from this data, is based on the bar chart of average duration study room per week. The highest number of students is 2 hours, which 9. This indicates the sample is dominated by 2 hours. So, for data analysis of study room usage time per week, we use simple bar chart too. So, to interpret, based on bar chart of study room usage time per week, highest number of study room usage time per week is 1, which is 15. Okay, so for data analysis of satisfaction toward room cleanliness and well maintenance, we use pie chart to analyze the data. So to interpret, the pie chart show that 53 of the students fell average with the study room cleanliness and well maintained. 25% of the students are satisfied with the study room cleanliness and well maintained. 12% of the students are unsatisfied with the study room cleanliness and well maintained. And 10% of the students are very satisfied with the study room cleanliness and well maintained. Okay, so for data analysis of satisfaction to the temperature of study room, we use pie chart tool to analyze the data. So to interpret the pie chart is the pie chart show the 40% of the students are satisfied with the temperature of the study room. 23% of the students fell average with the temperature of the study room. 20% of the students are very satisfied with the temperature of the study room, and 17% of the students are unsatisfied with the temperature of the study room. Lastly, part C, personal experience utilizing study room facility at Dahlia 2 and Dahlia 3, which is we analyze data of recommended. So for this data, we use simple bar chart to analyze the data. So to interpret this simple bar chart is based on bar chart of recommended. The highest number of recommendation from student to a study room at Dahlia 1 and Dahlia 3 is 1, which is represent as yes. Okay, so other than bar chart and pie chart, we use histogram and box and whiskers and or GIF to plot the data analysis. Okay, now I will explain about 3.2, which is descriptive statistic analysis. So first I will explain about ungrouped data. So here we got two data analysis from Excel, which is study room usage times per week and average duration in study room per week. Okay, so first, data for study room usage time per week. Based on the table, the mean usage is 2.1 times per week, indicating that students use the study room about twice a week on average. The median is 2, while the mode is 1, showing the most common frequency of usage is once per week. The standard deviation is 1.17, which suggests a moderation variation in how often students use the study room. The variation is 1.37 and the squareness is 1.00, which is positive. So for table average duration in study room per week, for mean duration is 6.85 hours per week, showing that the students spend almost 7 hours weekly in the study room on average. The median is 4 hours, while the mode is 2 hours, which means most students spend a relative shorter duration. The standard deviation is 6.14, indicating a wide spread in the duration study room usage among students. For variance, we got 37.97. So for screeners, we got 1.39, which is a positive value. So next, I will show the table we calculate by ourselves. Okay, so this is our calculation. So first I will explain the measures of central tendency and the measures of position. Based on the calculation, For mean, we use the formula mean equals to fx per n. From the calculation, the total for mean is 216.60, and the total number of data, which is n, is 40. Therefore, the mean value is 6.5. Next, for median, the location of median is at n per 2, which is 40 per 2 equals to 20. Using the median formula for group data, the calculate median value is 4.31. This shows that half of the data value are below 4.31 and half are above 4.31. Next is the mode. Using the mode formula, the calculate mode value is 3.05. This indicates that the most frequent value in the data set is around 3.05. Next, I will explain the measure of position. For the first quartile, the position is at n per 4, which is 40 per 4 equals to 10. After calculation, the value of first quartile is 2.40. This means that 25% of the data below 2.40. For the second quartile, which is the median, the position is at n per 2, which is 20. The value of second quartile is 4.31. For the third quartile, the position is at 3 n per 4, which is 30. After calculation, the value of third quartile is 8.5. This means that 17% of the data below 8.5. Okay, so this is how we calculate measure of this person. So for range, we use upper boundary of higher class minus lower boundary of lower class. So the answer we will got is 24. So for standard deviation, we use the formula standard deviation. So the final answer we got is 5.5839. So for variance, we use the formula. After we use the formula variance, we got 31.1795. So lastly, for measure of squeeness, we use the R equal to mean minus mode per standard deviation. So the final answer that we got is 0.6178. Squeeness to the right. So this is the our graph that we got after we calculate the squeeness. Okay, now I will explain about group data. So this is the example of group data that we calculate by ourselves. So for class size, we got 3. Okay, now I will explain about measure of central tendency, which is we have 3, mean, median, and mode. So first mean, how to find mean is we use formula mean equals to Fn divide n. So the final answer that we got is 19. So for median, we use formula median equals to n divide 2. So after that we got the location of median, we insert to the exactly the median group data formula, which is like in this slide. So the final answer that we got is 19. So lastly for mode, same like median, we use mode group data. So the final answer that we got is 19 too. So for measure of position, for first quartile, we use the formula n divide 4, which is that we will get 10. After that, we use the exactly formula that we need to use. So the final answer is 18. So for the second quartile, which is median, that we will get is 19. So lastly, for measure of position is third quartile. We need to use the exactly formula like in this slide. So the final answer that we will get is 20. Okay, so this is how we calculate measure of dispersion and measure of skewness. So first, we look at the range. The formula for range is upper boundary of the higher class minus lower boundary of the lower class. Okay, from the data, upper boundary of high class equals to 3.5 and lower boundary of lower class equals to 4.5. So the final answer for range is 9. So next is standard deviation, which measures how far the data values divide from the mean. The formula is like the given in the slide. So after the substituting the value and calculating, so the final answer that we get is 0.6622. So this small value show that the data points are closely clustered around the mean. So variance is simply the square of the standard deviation. The formula is S power of 2 equals to standard deviation power of 2. So the final answer that we will get is 0.4389. So variance help us understand data spread in square units, which is useful for further statistical analysis. So for measure of skewness, which tell us about the shape of the data distribution. So the formula is R equals to mean minus mode per standard deviation. From the data, we can see mean equals to 19, mode equals to 19, standard deviation equals to 0.6622. So the final answer that we will get is 0. So since the value of skewness is 0, this means the distribution is symmetrical. In a symmetrical distribution, mean equals to median equals to median. So this is a graph that we will get for the final answer of measure of skewness.
Thank you, Mariam. So in this slide, I will present about correlation and regression analysis. This presentation explains the relationship between study room usage and the average study duration per week. First, this slide shows a scatter diagram. The horizontal axis represents study room usage per week, which is X. The vertical axis represents average duration per week, which is Y. Each dot represents one set of data. From the graph, we can see that when study room usage is increased, the average study duration also tends to increase. This shows a positive trend between the two variables. Next, I will explain the data presentation. This table shows the relationship between two variables, which is X and Y. X represents the number of times a student used the study room in 1 week, while Y represents the average duration of study in 1 week. Each row represents one student data. The column of X squared, Y squared, and XY are calculated values used for statistical analysis. At the bottom of the table, the total value of X is 274, the total of Y is 83, the total of X squared is 3346, the total of Y squared is 215, and the total of XY is 735. These values are used for further calculation. Based on data collected, the sum of X is 274, the sum of Y is 83, the sum of X squared is 3346, the sum of the Y squared is 215, the sum of XY is 735. So the total number of data N is 40. These values are substituted into the correlation coefficient formula. The formula for the correlation coefficient is shown on the slide. After substituting all the values into the formula and simplify, the calculated value of R is 0.66399. Since the value of R is 0.66399, this indicates a moderately positive correlation between study room usage and the average study duration per week. This means that as the frequency of using study room is increased, the average study duration also increases. Next, I will explain the regression line. A regression line is used to predict the value of one variable based on another variable. In this case, we use study room usage to predict the average study duration. The regression equation is written as y equals a plus bx, where a is the y-intercept and b is the slope. First, we calculate the slope, which is represented by b. The formula for b is the sum of xy minus the product of the sum of x and the sum of y divided by n, all divided by the sum of x squared minus the square of the sum of x divided by n. After substituting the value into the formula, the slope b is 0.1133. Next, we calculate the y-intercept, which is represented by a. The formula is a equals to the sum of y divided by n minus b times the sum of x divided by n. After substitution, the value of a is 1.29, so the regression of equation becomes y equals 1.29 plus 0.11x. This equation can be used to estimate the average study duration based on the number of times the study room is used. So, y-intercept means that when the usage of the study room is 0, the average study duration is about 1 hour. The slope means that for every one-time increase in study room usage, the average study duration is expected to increase by about 0.11 hours. Next, I will explain the coefficient of determination. The coefficient of determination is represented by r². It shows how much the variation in the dependent variable can be explained by independent variable. The formula is r² equals r times r. The value of r is 0.66399. So r² equals 0.66399 multiplied by 0.66399, which gives 0.4409. To convert it into percentage, we multiply by 100. Therefore, the coefficient of determination is 44.09%. This means that 44.0% of total variation in average study duration can be explained by the usage of study room per week. The remaining 55.91% is influenced by other factors such as personal study habits, environment, motivation, and time management. Lastly, for our estimation, we estimate the average study duration when a student uses the study room 4 times per week. We use the regression equation y equals 1.29 plus 0.11x. Substitute x equal 4 into the equation. Y equal 1.29 plus 0.11 times 4. Y equal 1.29 plus 0.44, which equal 1.74 hours. This value is approximately close to 2 hours. Therefore, the expected average study duration is about 2 hours per week when a student uses the study room 4 times per week. For the conclusion, this study analyzed both quantitative and qualitative variables related to the study room usage. The quantitative variable included frequency of usage and average study duration, while the qualitative variable focused on student satisfaction with the study room condition. Using graphical and numerical methods, the results show that ungroup data were positively skewed, whereas group data followed a symmetrical distribution. The finding also revealed a correlation between study room usage and average study duration, which allowed the prediction of student study time. In addition, the statistical method used in this study helped to present and interpret the data clearly and effectively. For recommendation, future studies should include more variables to improve the study analysis. Additional quantitative variables such as seating capacity, noise level, and occupancy rate can be considered. Meanwhile, qualitative variables like Wi-Fi quality, a variable of power socket, and ventilation are also recommended. Overall, this improvement may provide more comprehensive and accurate results in future research. Thank you. So, these references are used to support the information and data in this presentation. Thank you for watching.